Okay, hi guys. For today's trade of the day, we'll be looking at Euro USD, and as usual, we'll be looking at the monthly chart. On the monthly chart, we just want to focus on more recent prices, so we'll just be focusing on this area here. And what we'd like to do on the monthly chart is really to find long-term support and long-term resistance. So, graphically speaking, you're taking the extremes. I can see that there's a support here, right? So let's call this our long-term support. And we want to see whether this long-term support is a strong one. We try to find confluence with Fibonacci ratios. Okay, so we can take an extension to measure the zigzag here. Take from a swing high here to the low and back up again, and we see that the 61.8 actually falls quite in line with this long-term support area, right? So this could be a strong long-term support. Let me just highlight this area, this zone. Okay, and now we look for long-term resistance. Now, of course, we see that there's a sort of a resistance at this area here. So let me just once again highlight it. Okay, so color this red, and we call this our long-term resistance. Now this long-term resistance is a strong level because there's a graphical swing high here. It's also close to this graphical overlap where price tested twice, and we find confluence again using Fibonacci ratios. Take a retracement from this swing high to this swing low here, and we see that the long-term resistance is actually quite close to the 61.8 level. So let me just highlight the 61.8 and also highlight this zone here. Now that we have found our long-term support and long-term resistance, let's go down to the weekly. Now on the weekly, we see that the euro dollar has actually been slowly drifting lower and lower since January 2018. Let me just tidy up this chart. And what we want to do now is to find the weekly resistance. I can see that there's a graphical level here, sort of. We was price tested once, twice, 3 times. So let me just put that in here and call this the weekly resistance. And let's see whether we can find any confluence with Fibonacci ratios. We take the retracement from the swing high at this level to the swing low at this level, and we actually pull out all our ratio levels, and we see that our weekly resistance is actually in line with the 38.2 retracement. Interesting to note also that there's sort of a resistance at this 61.8 level. So let's just highlight both levels. Okay. And we also leave the two retracement levels that we're looking at intact. So on the weekly, what I see is that price is actually holding above the long-term support, and what my bias will be is price could actually make a push down to the long-term support before a bounce up to the first weekly resistance, breaking which, surpassing which, we can see a further rise to the second weekly resistance. Alternatively, price can actually just go straight up to the weekly resistance. And now that we have our weekly resistance and our long-term support, let's go down to the daily. Once again, we tidy this chart up. The long-term resistance is quite far away, so I can actually remove this. It's not something we would like to consider. The long-term support, could bring it closer. And remember that this is actually a zone. Okay, so now we have a clearer picture here. Okay, like I said, expect the price to push down towards the long-term support before any push up to the weekly resistance. But now we're on the daily. We want to see whether there's any short-term daily support level, graphical support level, and graphical resistance level. So one thing that we can do is actually to use retracement to find our daily resistance. Take from the swing high to the swing low. And we see that this 61.8 has tested multiple times in this area. It's sort of like a price moving sideways, a sort of a squeeze. It gets quite crowded here instead of a straight drop like this. But let's pull out all the ratios first. So price is actually coming close to 23.6%, but I still prefer this stronger level, this key Fibonacci ratio of 61.8, so I'll just highlight it. And I'll put the level down and call this our daily resistance. Now we have our daily resistance, and I'll use this as our daily support. Now why I'm taking this level is because price has rejected off this level multiple times. So I expect price to actually bounce from this level up, and this will be my first take profit, daily resistance, with my second take profit at weekly resistance. Let's try to see whether we can find a nicer entry on the 4 hour. Let me tidy this up. Okay, so now we have all our levels here. I'll take a retracement to find a nice entry. I'll take a retracement from this swing low to this current swing high, and we see that price is actually hovering around a 38.2 level, right? This is quite a clean level here. Graphical overlap, and price actually tested multiple times. So this can be my intermediate support. Okay, so this is how I'll actually play the trade of the day. Tidy this up so it's easier to see. For this trade of the day, I will have my daily support here, and as long as price is anywhere in this area, I will go for a buy. And what I will do is either buy from this intermediate support and play up with this as my take profit, or I can buy from my daily support at 1.0655 and play up to my daily resistance as my take profit. Once this daily resistance is hit, I would actually close out 50% of my position, move my stop loss to break even, and let the rest of the position right towards the weekly resistance. Now, where my stop loss will be, I'll put my stop loss at the daily support. Once price goes below, if price were to go below the daily support, I can be sure that price will drop even further towards the long-term support, or it could go anywhere into this zone here. So just to keep the risk reward nice, my daily support again will be my stop loss, and I'll buy anywhere above this daily support to play towards the daily resistance, and my weekly resistance as my longer term take profit. That's all I have for today. Thank you.